Mushendu, good morning. Yes. Morning to you. How are you?
First of all, I want to offer my apologies to our viewers for being late. I have used a route I have not used before coming here because I had a family issue I needed to attend in the morning. And nonetheless, my apologies for being late. But I'm here. I never run away from debate. Like my fellow Ikonya from Kiambu, we were supposed to have a debate on Kiambu issues.
Your friend has gone missing.
No, he has just chickened out and decided to go Mteja. I was looking forward to face him head on. It's good to put it clear that he wanted a right of reply.
Yeah, he called me last week. By the way, just to make it clear, by the way, Anthony Konya, MCA, Kiambu Township, called me last week and said that there's accusations or statements that Mushendu had made on the show last week and he needed a right of reply. I have given him a right of reply and I want them, because the people of Kiambu, they deserve the truth and it's a value from leadership. And Ikonya said, yes, he's ready to come and argue or actually argue with the facts of Mushendu. Anthony Konya has gone missing. I don't know, maybe he's on his way, but if he's gone missing, then that is the
truth. I can tell you, he is not gone missing. Ikonya just decided to chicken out of a debate. I was very ready to engage him on matters Kiambu as the Yal, because, and I want to make it very clear here, that I did not come last week or today to come and speak on behalf of the executive. Nobody has sent me to speak on behalf of the executive. My point has been very consistent, that if indeed there is corruption in Kiambu, there is a certain group that cannot be the moral cop to talk about corruption in Kiambu, and that is the Kiambu County Assembly as it is composed today. So it was not about whether there has been a problem with the executive or not. It is about the honesty of the Kiambu County Assembly, that they do not have the moral obligation or authority to talk about corruption, if indeed it is there in Kiambu.
What?
So I look forward to engage the Honorable Ikonya anytime, any day, anywhere, as long as you do not chicken out of debate, the Honorable Ikonya. I know you to be a very good debater. I know you to be a very upright person when it comes to leadership, and I was hoping to engage you on matters Kiambu County candidly, because I start by my sentiment, as I said them last week. I will still insist that the assembly face of corruption in Kiambu.
So what exactly is going on in Kiambu, Mushendu?
The problem, and I kept insisting that we have very malicious kind of leadership in Kiambu. What people are discussing on Twitter and on social media is something called a management letter. A management letter is a letter written by the Auditor General to the CEC Finance in Kiambu. You're supposed to present your audit to the Auditor General so that he can peruse and make comments. Those comments are made through a management letter, that they made a letter and sent it to the CEC, the CCM of Kiambu, the finance person of Kiambu, so that he can be able to provide, number one, missing document that may have been noted in that management letter. He can be able to provide evidence of some of the things that the Auditor General feels that they need to be substantiated. That management letter it is an internal document between the Auditor General and the CEC Finance. Somehow, somebody leaked that particular letter. It is what has become the subject in Kiambu. Unfortunately, so as much as the content of that letter may be subject to interrogation, that letter cannot be used as evidence against Kiambu County Gerald Bitok. There has to be that final report by the Auditor General that actually now details if there are issues that were not clarified when the CEC Finance is going to reply to that management letter. Then that final report will give a clear indication and the true reflection of the accounts in Kiambu County. So therefore, anybody purporting to interrogate the Kiambu County through that management letter, regardless of how it is actually bringing out emotions, it is not a document that can stand the test of time. There has to be a substantive audit report by the Auditor General so that we can be able now to fully castigate the executive. So therefore, I continue to say the problem in Kiambu, it is the maliciousness in the kind of readers we have given ourselves to. Because I say this, and I say this very sad as a resident of Kiambu, the leadership we have is a true reflection of the people we are. So if our leadership is missing the mark, that also means as the people of Kiambu, we missed the mark when we were electing these MCAs. If you compare the first assembly, which I was honored to have so many friends and to I am a regular person to go and listen to the debate in the county assembly, both in the first one and the second one. If you compare the first assembly and this assembly, it is like comparing heaven and earth. This assembly has lost its value. It has lost its course. It has lost its mandate. These people are serious mockery to the people who elected them.
The question is, even as you stand in for the executive MUCHENDU,
yes,
do you believe there's any corruption or misuse of public funds in Kiambu County?
But
because you are referring to a query by the Auditor General.
Bitok, what I believe or I don't believe is not. It doesn't apply in this issue. The point is, if the relevant bodies that are mandated to do the audit of the county accounts find Kiambu to have actually messed up with the account, then what I believe or I don't believe, it is neither here nor there. But I cannot stand here, Bitok, and crucify Kiambu County executive through a management letter that cannot stand the test of time. The only time we can be able to give a clear picture of whether money has been misused in Kiambu, it is after this management letter has been sent to the CEC Finance. He will require to give reply to that letter on the specific issues that have been raised in that audit query. Thereafter, the Auditor General is going to make a conclusive report on the audit of the Kiambu. And when the Auditor General will make that audit report regarding this particular usage and regarding these particular issues that he has raised, then we will be here to tell you that it is true, Kiambu County government has done this, or it is not true, Kiambu has not done this. But right now, I cannot, in no fairness, start saying whether there is corruption in Kiambu or not until I reply to that particular management letter, because that management letter is asking the CEC Finance to clarify those issues. And therefore, it will be unfair for me to castigate the executive until such a time the CEC has been able to answer to those particular issues raised by the Auditor General, and then the Auditor General is going to actually craft his final report on the matter. So therefore, because it's not going to take too long, when that report is done, Bitok, we shall be here to interrogate that report. But nonetheless, one thing I can tell you, there is a problem in Kiambu County that needs to be sorted, and that is a leadership problem. We have a blame game in the Kiambu County Assembly, a blame game between the Kiambu County Assembly and the executive that needs to stop, and we can focus on issues that actually benefit Mwananchi. My actual fear is that these MCAs, they're supposed to be the first responsibility as it is anchored in the Constitution for the MCA. It is representation. You are the representative of the people. What took you to that assembly should be first, always the constituents. The constituents that elected you should take the first precedence in your affairs in Kiambu County. So therefore, I hope the MCAs, I hope the executive, they can come together so that they can chart the way forward to projects that are helping Mwananchi, not just mere politics to feed into your stomachs and what have you.
All right. Yes. Yesterday they've cleared 1.1 out of 5 million signatures. They've cleared 1.14 BBI signatures. Hizo zingine zilienda wapi?
I have a feeling probably Wafula Chebukati also did them a favor by clearing 1.4 million. I have a feeling that if some of us go and interrogate further the cleared signature, if Bitok, you bear with me, we have quite a substantive number that doesn't have time to go and check whether their signatures was illegally used for BBI. As we have established, quite a number of people have found that they signed up for BBI without actually doing it themselves. So if Kenyans took time to actually fully interrogate the signatures in the BBI, most likely we will not have the 1 million required threshold of those signatures. That tells you if they had submitted, how much was it, 5
point something
5 point something million. It is sad, my brother, that almost 4 million signatures were rendered useless in this entire BBI exercise. So therefore, would it be safe to say that only around 1.4 million Kenyans support BBI in the republic that has 50 million? And I'll tell you this, without being unfair to the county assemblies, I don't expect that particular process to get a hinge in the county assemblies. Why do I do this? Why do I say this talk? Most MCAs in all our county assemblies, when they got in, they took maximum loans against their salaries. So you will find there is an MCA that is actually drawing a pay slip of not more than 30,000 shillings after the deductions have been done. So in short, my MCAs were mesota. So therefore, when this process is subjected to the county assemblies, and subsequently there is some money that is going to come from a certain office in Gigiri, these guys will pass it, including my own county. That's how bad our county assembly is. I expect this BBI, despite majority of Kiambu citizens saying no, because I'll tell you the problem we have, Bitok. How many times does your MCA consult you when an issue of the matters of national importance come to the assembly?
I don't even remember my...
They don't consult their constituents. They purport to pretend that they know the needs of the constituents. Basically, if that bill comes to the Kiambu Assembly, I would expect my area MCA to do a public participation. As the representative of the people, what do the people you represent want to do with that particular issue that comes to the assembly? Do they want to pass BBI? Do they want to pass? Do they want to fail BBI? So therefore, it would be a canon responsibility for an MCA when that particular BBI bill is brought and introduced to the county assembly of Kiambu. Each unelected MCA should be able to do a public participation from where you've been elected. Let the constituents you represent tell you their feeling about BBI. If they want to pass BBI, you have a canon obligation to go and vote yes on their behalf in that assembly. If your constituents do not want anything to do with that document, you also have a responsibility to come to that assembly and give a representation of what your constituents want. But unfortunately so, that when these bills come to the assembly, the first core business for an MCA is what he will get out of it. So hii kitu na I can tell you, hakuna assembly itaingia kama haijafuatwa na pesa.
So you believe they might actually approve the document?
No, I don't. It is not actually, I don't believe. I know so. They will actually approve the document. In fact, it is supposed to get at least 24. You'll be surprised to even get 40.
And the question is, Moshendu, all right, even as you speak about the signatures, should you only look at the signatures collected, or should you also look at the integrity of the process? Because
that is it. You know, let me tell you, when you have 4 million signatures being rejected by the IEBC, then the integrity process of the integrity of that process becomes very questionable. Because how did you then end up with 4 million signatures that, for lack of a better word, are bogus? Because they are bogus. You will find that someone has signed in but given the wrong details of his voting station. That tells you that signature automatically was stolen from somewhere. Because Bitok, are you sure you will really forget your voting station in Moiben? Surely. As a voter, you may not know so many other things, but if I vote in, like me, I vote in Brock 2, Gatora Primary School. I cannot forget that. My shosho cannot forget the school where she or my guka where he votes. So therefore, when you have over 2 million, because I think if you look at the summary of the report, you will find like over 1 million signatures have the long voter information. Others have the long voting station. Others have the long count information. You will find someone has given a signature purporting to have come from Kilifi when his documents are checked. He's from Kiambu. So therefore, that process of correcting signature by the Building Bridges Initiative is very questionable. We cannot actually struggle to say that there was no integrity in the process of correcting signature. Otherwise, it will be very sad to imagine that over 4 million signatures were found not to be accurate. Can you compare the process used by the Third Way Alliance to correct the signatures for the Pungua Mzigo bill vis-a-vis the BBI? The Third Way Alliance had collected 1.something millions, I think, around 1.something million signatures. But somehow, the margin of error in that particular exercise was very low, that they were able to get more than 1 million signatures approved by the IEBC. Here you have a process that took almost 5.6, I can't recall very well, around 5.6 million signatures. And then you end up with only 1.4 viable signatures. There is a very big problem in that process. And then, now that begs is, what is the independence of Kenyans as voters? If such a small issue like BBI, they can be able to get over 4 million bogus signatures. But the beauty and the issue about this is that these signatures belongs to people. They had at no time. And then what amazes me is that you have so many people who gave signatures and they are not voters. You had quite a very sizable numbers that the IEBC said they could not find them in their register. Then we have a problem because we do not use the mechanism, the right mechanism. And I have a problem because the popular initiative, it is not supposed to be a government-driven initiative. In the spirit of the Constitution, the popular initiative was supposed to be driven by me and Bitok, people who are not members of government. We are given a leeway as the citizens to address issues that we feel that should be addressed and we fear that the government cannot initiate. But what do we have today? A government that can use a parliamentary initiative and all other initiatives. They have absconded their duty as government and hijacked a process that ought to have been started by Wajiko. And now that's what they are using so that they can be able to achieve their so much desired results that are not Mwananchi oriented. So therefore, it is very sad that the government that is claiming to be powerful and having deep state has resorted to use the popular initiative that in the spirit of the Constitution was supposed to be used by Wanjiko, who does not have trust in government. He can use the county assemblies as the people's representative to start that process.
All right. Let's talk about Central Kenya. There was a Ghana meeting. Also, Raila Odinga heads to Central Kenya this weekend. I think on Saturday he'll be having a rally at Kenol. Uhuru pala amesema yeye bado ananguruma kama simba. Atarudi ngurume kama simba. I saw Kabando was thrashing the Sagana meeting. So I think he'll also have
let me tell you. Yes, let me tell you. The Sagana meeting is neither here nor there as far as I'm concerned, Bitok. Somebody will ask, why am I saying so? Already, it is established that quite a sizable number, actually the majority of Mount Kenya people are not in support of BBI, Bitok. And therefore, when I want to sell something to Bitok and our producers here, and they do not want to buy it, the logical intervention as someone who understands marketing would be first of all to understand why is Bitok not buying my idea and his producers, why are they not buying my idea? Once I establish the reason why Bitok and his friends are not buying the idea I have, the next intervention would be, what mode of parody am I going to apply for them to actually give me a hearing on the idea I have? Once I establish the mode of parody, then from there I can come up with all tricks in the book to ensure Bitok and his company buys my idea. But instead, you go to Sagana, you call the same sycophants who surround you and lie to you that BBI is going on well in Sagana. You call them Bitok, and you expect, how do you do things the same way and expect the different result? Those people you purport to be the opposers of BBI, you have left them out of Sagana meeting. What was the purpose of Sagana meeting, Bitok? If you look at the papers, they were saying that Uhuru is crafting a new strategy to ensure that he wins Mount Kenya. There is no way you take sycophants from here to Sagana to come and tell you how to win BBI. You would rather have still stayed in Nairobi. You have just given them a very good fresh air in Nyeri and in Sagana to go enjoy, to end up telling you the same thing they have been telling you, which has not been working. So I felt if Uhuru was honest with the conversation about selling BBI to Mount Kenya, he would have reached out up to the dissenting opinions. Understand why are they dissenting? Why do they feel that BBI is not a priority in Central Kenya? Why do they feel that BBI does not address the issues of Wanjiko or even their personal views on that? That is the only honest conversation I would say the president has.
So what are the Sagana meetings actually intended to achieve?
The Sagana meeting, let me tell you, the idea of having a meeting in Sagana is actually to try and win Mount Kenya to support BBI. And whoever thought about having a meeting in Sagana, I would first of all say he had a very good idea in mind. But the composition of who was in Sagana is what makes that process very useless. Because Bitok, as I have said, you go and you take the people who actually have been surrounding you here in Nairobi. In fact, the only thing I would say Sagana did was it is just give the same people with the same opinion a change of scenery. Because there was no way they will tell the president a new thing. They will still preach what they have been preaching. But I will also say this, and I am still someone who believes that BBI is not a priority. But I will say this, there is something the people who support BBI in Mount Kenya have done, Bitok, that needs to be looked very seriously. Otherwise, for those of us who believe that BBI is not a priority, we may find ourselves in the hot pan. They have picked my member of parliament, the Honorable Peter Mongai Mwathi, as the organizing secretary of BBI. Let me tell you, if I was asked to give 10 people who I know to be very clever in this country, my MP is a very cunning member of parliament. He is very calculative. And then he is one of those people who are the first people to teach about devolution when we passed the new constitution. He is very passionate about anything that he desires to sell. And therefore, my MP has been out and about, Nanyuki, Limuru, on TVs, and selling. And it is my submission that if we were to have 4 or 5 members of parliament like the Honorable Peter Mongai Mwathi, then we are looking at a place where Mount Kenya might just be swindled or coerced to support BBI.
It's actually someone who has argued here, and that's Ombui. Ombui is arguing, he's saying that if you know that nobody supports BBI, do you have the data that proves that nobody supports BBI or BBI is unpopular, especially in central Kenya?
Let me tell you, we do what we call opinion poll, but our opinion poll, I have to state on the onslaught that they are not scientific. We cannot fully say that we spend time and using the normal means of doing opinion poll. But when you sample opinion poll on social media, you sample opinion poll on our towns. You sample opinion polls when we attend burial services, when we attend the roratios and all those things. As a politician, as people who love leadership, we keep asking people these questions. And most of the time, you will find that only 1 in every 7 people supports BBI. So when we say that majority of people do not support BBI, you have seen Bitok because you are here and you see media, you see the reaction, the kind of reaction those people who support BBI are receiving in public functions. It tells you that there is a big problem. People have a very big problem with BBI. And I want to state categorically here, I've gone through that document from cover to cover. That document, BBI without Maris, has some nice things for the common Mwananchi in it. I believe so. I want to believe that there are things that Mwananchi can take home from that document. But that document has 2 problems. One, the kind of people who market that particular project and particular initiative in Central Kenya. Number 2, the pointers they have taken as the lead point in BBI. Today, the pointers in BBI is about leadership, Bitok. It's about expanding the executive. It is about representation. It is about issues that only benefit the leaders who will get those positions when BBI is passed. So the people who actually came up with this initiative messed when they decided that the selling point is about leadership. So the common Mwananchi feels that BBI is only about leadership and the things that the readers will take home out of that document. Therefore, they feel that their issues have not been addressed. Now, it will be very long of me to sit here and say that that document doesn't have some good things for the common Mwananchi. There is some goods. But
which is?
Like, for instance, if we talk about the issues of agriculture, there are timelines that are supposed to be given there. If you look at the document at the end, there are schedules that you are supposed, the parliament is supposed to enact.
But we already have the copy of bill. We have the bills that are coming up. Why do we need? Why is it? Why are you not doing this thing?
No. What I'm saying is, Bitok. What I'm saying, and get me correctly. I am one person that,
because I think you're flip-flopping.
I'm not flip-flopping. I am not. I'm saying that document, it will be very wrong of me to say that there isn't 1 or 2 things that can help the common Mwananchi in that particular document. Because I'll tell you the problem I have. When we say that we enact 35% of total revenue of this republic to the county government, then that is a very good thing. That we can have 35% being enacted in the constitution to come to the county government. On the other side, and the problem I have saying BBI is not a priority, as we actually talk about 35% coming to the counties, what is the current government doing to ensure that our economy will be on the track to achieve the 35%? Because today, Bitok, you remember for the Senate to be able to actually agree on the sharing formula, today, the president went ahead and promised, was it 350 billion shillings to the county? The counties have ended up sharing almost, I think, around 325 billion. So around 25 billion has been lost. Why? It is because the government is so concerned about BBI that they are not addressing the economy today. As much as proposing 35% to be anchored in the constitution is a good thing when you have 35% of the total revenue of the county being put into the total revenue of the entire budget being given back to the county. It's a good thing for common Mwananchi. But now, The reason why the common mwananchi will not see it from that angle, it is because you say there is 35% to be given to the county, but what you are doing with the economy today is actually proof that even giving 15% to the county government is a very big problem. So what I'm trying to say, like I'll tell you one proposal that is in BBI I have always insisted on, is today counties are given money in accordance to 15% of the last audited and approved government accounts. Understand? For you to, your 15% is based by the Auditor General statements of account that have been approved by the Auditor General, brought to the Assembly, and they have been approved by the Assembly. That is when you get the 15%. Meaning, today, the 15% that we are giving the counties, it is somewhere in the financial year of 2016-2017. The BBI proposes that 35% would be given, 35% will come from the last audited government account. It has removed that particular section where that account has to be approved by Parliament. So whether Parliament does its responsibility of approving the accounts or not, when we are giving the 35%, they should be given in accordance with what the Auditor General has approved. So therefore, that is a good thing in the BBI. But that is not something that Wananchi will see it, because the current state of economy, as much as we pass the 35% on paper, does our economy today show or prove that we will give 35% to the county government?
No doubt.
It does not. So therefore, the problem I have with BBI, it is that there are people who feel that BBI is like it's something magical. That once we pass this thing, it is going to turn our economy around. Our economy will not be turned around by just a mere paper that the president has said to.
Right.
Our economy will be turned around by the economic policy this government will put in place.
Right. I'm also saying, I've run a poll there. There's a poll I've run whether you support BBI or no. I think you've seen a pop-up on your video. Let's get the poll real live. I've run the poll whether you support BBI, yes or no. Yes or no. Kuna poll pop up kwa video yako. You can click on the poll. You can vote yes or no. I'm seeing Jen is arguing. There's an argument that Jen is arguing, and he's also going along with someone who made a statement here that said there's someone who said on studio yesterday. I'm trying to get a comment. There's someone who talked on the studio today na akasema ya kwamba Maoka Maore said on a show at Citizen TV that they are going to receive instructions on the way forward on BBI. It's nothing about consultations, dialogue, or consensus building. That's Evans Gidai. And also Jen was asking, why are we having Sagana meetings in lodges and not town hall meetings to sensitize the Wananchi in Central Kenya about the document and the gates?